Welcome to Stardust Stereo. I'm Parker McPhinney. I'm your host. Today is the 15th of October, year 2024. Today I'm going to talk about the upcoming full moon in Aries. This occurs on the 17th of October at 4:26 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. If you live elsewhere, you will have to do the math. This full moon we're rounding it off to 25 degrees. The moon in Aries, like I said, the sun in Libra, it creates a grand cross with Mars, which is currently in Cancer, and Pluto, which is in Capricorn. Pluto is retrograde right now, and it's making its last little spat in the traditional conservative canon of government. When Pluto goes into Aquarius near the end of the year, it will stay in Aquarius for almost 20 years. So in this full moon, we are seeing the grasp that power never wants to let go of. Never. Once somebody has become addicted to the aphrodisiac of power, they very rarely want to let it go. This full moon, to me, just screams out, hot glue your security. It is really creating a lot of energy, steam, a lot of tangible desire to make change. When the moon is in Aries, nobody wants to wait. It's like, hurry up and make it happen yesterday. And this particular moon in Aries is just past a conjunction to Chiron, the wounded healer, which is also the maverick placement. I see Chiron is the way that we tap into our own personal geniusness. So this full moon is definitely one that you should not waste. And by not waste, what I mean is make concrete effort, tangible steps to creating the security that you desire and the independence that you're probably craving. The moon in Aries is all about, I'm a free agent. I don't want ties to anybody. But of course, we live in a world where everybody needs everybody. I don't care if you are a zillionaire. You're still going to need cooperation from other people. And we are social beings. So, you need each other. But if you need somebody and you don't get on with them, this will really push things to a head this full moon. This full moon is about you speaking your piece, because the sun is in Libra, which loves harmony. But conversations with the government might not go so well. Conversations within countries might be superheated. No, they will be superheated. And something is going to come to a head with this full moon. It doesn't mean that accumulation of dissatisfaction and anger peaks on the 17th when the moon is full. It just means that during that full moon, there can be an awareness of what needs to happen to move past what has been lost. And this is very applicable to parts of the world that are dealing with huge disasters like wars, floods, hurricanes. There's just so much going on everywhere. But what I'd like you to focus on is your personal little avenue, the headspace that you need to challenge yourself to find healthy solutions to your issues. It's interesting. I recently had a dream from my guru, and in it, I always cherish those moments, and it was a glorious dream. But in it, my guru gave instructions via another person that were very specific to me to get rid of my anger. And I thought, oh, am I angry? I'm not angry. I might be frustrated, but I don't see myself as walking around angry. But ultimately, if you even have a thimble of anger, you need to weed it out and channel it into productivity. There are things that make me angry, but usually I don't hang on to them. I'll tell you one little thorn in my side that is apropos to this full moon is how the New York Times likes to belittle anybody that might not want to vote for the two-party corrupt system that is going on right now, and how they talk down to anybody that might decide to vote for their values. And I find that so irritating. Like, I'm near the end of my life, closer to the end of my life than the beginning of my life. And I think I can decide who I want to vote for without the help of the New York Times. And if that happens to not be Democrat or Republican, well, it sends a message to both those parties that I'm not pleased with them. So it is not a wasted vote. And this whole concept of wasted votes is just baloney. So I encourage each and every one of you to vote your values. So yes, I have a little bit of anger about that. Condescending baloney telling me that I have two choices, or really they're saying you have one choice because they so hate the other choice. So how do we deal with anger? How do we deal with frustration? Because that's all anger is. It's frustration that has not found an outlet. And when the full moon comes around, it really points for us the areas that we need to look at. So in the full moon chart, I see that Mars is a key player. Mars is a key player because it's in Cancer, which rules the home. Mars does not like being in Cancer. It can create a lot of animosity within domestic disputes. On the positive side, you can build a house really well when Mars is in Cancer. Construction can get a big boom when Mars is in Cancer. Construction that has to do with housing. You can rearrange your house, furniture, stuff when Mars is in Cancer. It's also about cleaning up your diet. So this full moon, the depositor of that moon in Aries is Mars in Cancer. And that Mars in Cancer is opposing Pluto. And Plutonian energy changes everything in one little drop. So Mars is applying to an opposition to Pluto that will become exact on November 3rd, right before the USA election. That's super powerful energy. Try to de-escalate any adversary energy that's in your life right now, or inside yourself, inside your own being. Get rid of what you do not want. Get rid of what does not hot glue your security. Because ultimately, as many people know right now, the four walls security can disappear in a blink. So I'm talking real security, the internal security, which is a lifelong challenge. I'm going to go through the houses rather rapidly where this full moon falls. If it falls in your first house, you need to recalculate how you present yourself emotionally to the world. If you need to show your strength, you become a force to be reckoned with. The second house, if it falls there, you need to change up how you make your income flow more toward you and less out toward everybody else. Consider exploring new avenues of income. Third house, that's the house of how you communicate what you think and brothers and sisters. So try to mend any rips that have happened in your communication with siblings. It also deals with transportation. So take care of the needs of your car, not after they break down, but the preventative measures. Fourth house, that is literally the physical home, the psychological home, and it also deals with the seat of the soul. So if this full moon falls in that house, you need to take a good look around your surroundings and how do they support and reflect how you want emotionally to be. If you are dealing with any inheritances or property issues, it can get really heated. So make sure you watch what you say. Fifth house, that's the house of entertainment, children, having fun, that kind of entertainment. Let's go have fun. Let's go to the theater. Let's go to an amusement park. It also deals with your personal creativity and romance. So when this full moon falls in that house, you're probably reaching a point of ultimatum in any relationships that are romantic, that if they have not been going toward the way of how you envisioned, or it can sometimes begin putting on the plate a discussion of, maybe we're ready to live together, that sort of big change. Full moons bring to the head issues that have been hanging around that you might have ignored. Sixth house deals with work or police, duty, pets, small pets. A full moon that falls in that sixth house, you're making changes to how you relate to your coworkers. You're making changes in your diet. I suggest you look at the process of eliminating what your body does not like. Seventh house is everybody that's not you, romantic and business partnerships, professional relationships. It deals with the public. In your personal chart, it's very much how you relate to others that you need in your life. The moon there says you might be more accommodating to them. You might take an avenue of discovery of what they emotionally need. And once you do that, you get more of what you need. It's a little bit of the give so you can get, but also understanding what their needs are. If they're angry, why? Because like I said, behind anger is always frustration. That's not been resolved. Eighth house, that's sex, death, taxes, and other people's money. When the full moon falls in that house, all those issues come up. You're either getting it, you're not getting it, you want it, your refund is not enough, you owe too much. It's a transpersonal house. It also deals with emotional connectivity to those that you are intimate with. The moon in the eighth house is not satisfied with biological needs being met if there is not an emotional connection. Sometimes with this full moon, it can indicate lust, sudden attractions. And that's cool if you're single. If you're married, that can be a little bit of a problem. Ninth house, that deals with higher education, religion, foreign travel, people from other parts of the world than where you live. A full moon there is always going to deal with travel issues, education, what is your major, how's school going, and your faith. And I highly recommend everybody with this full moon to Tap into your faith. Analyze it. Look how you can make it stronger. Pick out your favorite little parts about the faith that you have. Is it the faith of helping your brother and sister, your neighbor, treating others as if you were them, seeing yourself in them? You know, the word namaste means I honor the light that's in you. None of us are here without the spark of divine. So there is even the tiniest bit of divine in every person on this earth, even if they are a horrid person. And what you think may be a horrid person may be a beloved by another anyway. 10th house, that's your standing in the community, your mission in life, your boss, the government. Full moon there, you're definitely going to have changes on the job. Your boss might be changing, or suddenly they add a whole new itinerary that you have to follow. 11th house, friends, wishes, hopes, the new path, Congress. A full moon in the 11th house in your personal chart means nurturing with your friends. Try new fun things to nurture your friendships and reach out to grow new ones. Think about what new path you can carve in your life that will give you a sense of hope and inspiration and birth, because this full moon is in Aries. It's all about new growth. The 12th house. The 12th house is the hidden cave, solitude. It rules prisons, it rules ashrams, it rules where you go to heal, it rules where you go to create your own special little cave. If a full moon falls in your 12th house, you definitely need to spend some time alone during this 2-week period of this full moon. So that gives you a little bit of a glimpse of this full moon in the personal chart, wherever it falls. If you don't have your chart, you can go to astrolab.com, or you can just Google any astrological free chart and find out your chart. You have to know what time you were born. Of course, you can always contact me and get a reading. And I'll just do my little plug here. I am on kitchensari.com. That's the word kitchen and then the word sari, SARI.com, like the Indian dress. You can check out my site, view my links. I'm also on Patreon, patreon.com/ParkerMcP if you want to become a patron. You can get a reading, find out how this full moon affects you. Full moons are meant to highlight what has been ignored, if it's been ignored. The Sabian symbol of this full moon is a double promise, reveals its inner and outer meanings. So it's not just what's going on outside yourself. As important, it's what's going on inside yourself. Because this full moon is about the I in the collective we. Or we could say it's about the individual reflecting back to the collective. And ultimately, the collective changes when each individual changes. So if we want a more peaceful world, well, we have to become more peaceful. And then if each person collectively becomes more peaceful, the world becomes more peaceful. Now, also in this full moon, Venus is at 29 degrees and 35 minutes arc. And that indicates financially in the global world, something's about to truly shift. America's immensely in debt and clicking away at the moment to more debt. This also shows that there is a completion coming, and I've talked about this before. I really do feel that we are going to see, and this is based on the solar eclipse that was in Libra, a president passing. And the good thing about when people die is that it makes us privy to the fact that we are not guaranteed the next breath. We are not guaranteed tomorrow. So you need to live for today and now. That does not mean that you don't plan for tomorrow, but it is really foolish to assume that you're going to be here tomorrow because you just don't know that. So we will be seeing some final goodbyes. That's going to be triggered on the 22nd and also on the 28th of this month. I see final goodbyes. This could be literally final goodbyes. It could be goodbyes to bad habits. It could be goodbyes to relationships. It could manifest in many different ways, but there are going to be some final goodbyes in the third week in October. The 20th and the 21st, transiting Mars will exactly trigger this full moon, so things will come to a head 20th and 21st. 20th is Vice President Harris's birthday, and that's a pretty powerful signature. Mars square the sun and the moon to have in your solar return. And I have her exact birth time, so I punched in her solar return coming up on the 20th. And I do believe that she's going to be in the hot seat over some issue that's going to climax right around that time, around her birthday. And then at the end of the month, there's going to be all eyes on Kamala. Is she going to win? I don't know. I am so bad at predicting who's going to win because I get so biased. And at this point, I want a third party to win. Nothing would please me more than a third party candidate tying with one of the people of either the Republican or the Democratic Party. I would be doing jumping jacks because I want to shake up the whole system. So you will never hear me say, don't vote third party. You will always hear me say, vote your values. On the 25th of this month, solutions to some of the issues could manifest. And I want to leave you with a really positive note. There is a beautiful biquintile aspect in this full moon chart, and that is massive creativity, expanding hope, effort through thought. Remember, the stars do not make things happen. People do. The stars throw an influence that can then motivate you, but it's still up to you to create the life you desire. So let this full moon shine brightly on your individuality and how you can become a person that adds to collective peace. I'm Parker McPhinney. This is Stardust Stereo. I'd like to thank you for listening. I'd like to also encourage you to share my podcast with as many people that love astrology as much as I do. And I want to remind you, you are made of stardust, so go shine.